Don't want to get too enmeshed into the COVID wars again, but we can't pass up talking about the really interesting dynamic between the two competing camps. And look, far be it from me to put you in a camp, perhaps you're somewhere in the middle of the COVID wars. I'm especially talking about the pro-mandate camp, whether it's vaccine or mask mandates, and I mean that at one extreme, and the anti-mandate camp. And now listen, my objective in bringing up the two camps again is not so that we can continue shouting at each other. Really, it's not. On the contrary, our objective is to zoom all the way out at the worldview level so that we can hopefully get past the shouting and understand where we're all coming from. So anyway, what I find interesting is that the clash between the two camps seems to be fundamentally a clash between the ideas of freedom and duty. It's like two different war cries. The anti-mandate people, or the anti-mandate camp, they're pulling a William Wallace, okay? They're crying, freedom! Don't force me to get a vaccine. Don't suppress my speech, etc., right? On the other hand, on the pro-mandate camp, I don't know what kind of war cry that might be. I was maybe thinking like, how Aragorn is like, hey, for Frodo, right? And he leads the charge into Mordor. And the idea there being that the fight is for something other than themselves, right? The obligation they have to society as a whole. So the pro-mandate argument is that the mask is for the good of others, right? The vaccine mandates are for the good of society. Right. Now, there are a couple of points I want to make with this. First of all, this dynamic does explain a little bit, and I mean this as a compliment to the pro-mandate camp. It explains the moral disdain, y'all. It explains the moral disdain that the pro-mandate people have for the anti-mandate people. And, you've heard versions of, oh, you selfish bastard, while you're worried about my liberty, people out there are dying. And listen, this kind of rebuke, we need to understand, and this is my point, this kind of rebuke comes from a place of a love for the common good, a love of the good, okay? Or we should assume that it does. And sure, many people just have this herd mentality and they love putting people down who don't conform to the herd. Yeah, but we can't assume that. I mean, set aside having some skepticism about the motivations of people in power, I'm just talking about your neighbor Joe who gives you dirty looks when you're not wearing your mask. You have to assume that for Joe, that it comes from a place of love of the good. So don't have hatred in your heart when you talk to him, okay, or people like that. Look, if it sounds like I'm making the moral case for the pro-mandate camp, I am. I respect that what underlies their position is a desire to do what is right and not what's convenient to them personally. You have to respect that. Now, listen, you can probably tell that I'm much more on team anti-mandate. But insofar as I am, I much rather make the case on the grounds of what is good for society instead of simply basing it on a question of personal freedom. The critique of the pro-mandate crowd should cause us some introspection. Are we hesitant about masks and vaccines because we don't like the inconvenience or the aesthetic or whatever? Okay. Is it because of my liberty, as they say? Listen, if that's the case, then the disdain from the other camp is completely justified. There is real power in the accusation that we're just concerned about ourselves as opposed to society as a whole. The idea of duty is always going to have the moral high ground over the idea of freedom. Okay, I'll get to freedom in a second. We're going to give freedom its due. But the point is that, here's my point. The point is that just as I think that not every Joe mandate is a totalitarian at heart, I also don't think that every Jane anti-mandate is a self-centered idiot just focused on my liberty. Both of these ideas are straw men that each camp likes to build up and hate on, right? And look, I'm not a lovey-dovey, both sides are right kind of a guy. No. I have a stance and I want to defend it. I'm just saying that a healthy debate starts from the assumption that the other camp has good motivations. I find that that's actually true for the vast majority of people. Okay, so in defense of the anti-mandate camp, I've been defending the pro-mandate camp. Let's look at the perspective of the anti-mandate camp. So this is my camp, and in my experience, it's not that we value our personal freedom over the common good. I don't think it's that. I think it's just that we disagree with the assessment that mask mandates and vaccine mandates are actually necessary in this particular circumstance, okay, given the particulars as they are. And sure, I mean, sue us if we're not completely ready to sign up 100% to a vaccine that is only 1 year old. Now, listen, I don't want to dissuade you. I mean, that's a conversation that you have with your doctor. My only position is that this should not be mandated. I don't think that it's going to be helpful. And look, or at least we should think that it's appropriate that each person make their own risk assessment on this. Look, after all, the disease is highly, highly stratified in terms of age, weight, okay, and health otherwise. If the disease is not one size fits all, why should our response to it be? Okay, it's as simple as that. That's the perspective here. And look, anti-mandate people are also resentful of social media for not allowing a fair exchange of information. I don't know if this is going to get taken down, y'all. Okay, hopefully not. Maybe we fly under the radar here, okay? But they're not allowing for a fair exchange of information and ideas respecting the disease. Anti-mandate people are, I think rightly, afraid of the obvious chumminess that we're seeing, maybe even collusion, between the social media giants and the administrative state. How can we not be fearful of the totalitarian tendencies we see springing up everywhere? I mean, we see what's happening in Australia. How can we be blind to that? And how close are we to going down that same road if we're not there already? Look, just as easily and indignantly as the pro-mandate people say, hey, you bastards, pay attention to your health. Well, so likewise, the anti-mandate people can say, no, I get it, but pay attention to the foundations of our civilization. Now, look, if you do think that your personal freedom trumps the need of society, then you probably are the jerk that the pro-mandate people say that you are. I just don't think that there are many people like that. Listen, freedom, people have different opinions about this, and I want you guys to tell me what you think about freedom. Comment below. What's your take on freedom, and how does it relate to duty and the good, okay? My perspective is that freedom is not an end in itself. No, it's not an end in itself. The good is an end in itself. Okay, and our duty is to do the good. But freedom is crucially important. Okay, freedom is a tool. And this is why I'm on Team Freedom. Okay, freedom is the most important tool that civil society relies on. It's the best way to pursue the common good. Okay, this is what our founders taught us. This is one of the key discoveries of Western civilization. You need freedom in order to pursue the common good. It's the best way. And like I said, comment below on your view of this. This is obviously a big topic, and it merits an ongoing conversation. So we want to hear from you. Also, if you don't mind giving us a like, if you're getting any value from this. And look, my hope is that if we understand the big ideas motivating each side, we will be able to have much better and much more human and humane conversations. I'm not saying we're all going to sing Kumbaya. I'm saying let's figure it out. Let's persuade the other side. But we'll just be making it worse if we continue setting up and knocking down straw men. Well, okay, guys, we have a lot more coming up on this topic. We also have our new segment, Quick Takes, and we're also going to be doing a review of the Netflix miniseries Midnight Mass. I'm Jim Horan. My brother Sal's here with me. We're the Worldview Bros.